I can take
She
care
gives
of
me
that.
the finger.
I can give you a finger.
She gives me the finger. Good evening, everybody. This is the Planning and Zoning Commission for the town of Chesapeake Beach, Maryland. It is June 24th, 2026, and we will call this meeting to order. And we'd like to have a roll call, please. We'll start down at Commissioner Hahn.
Ellie Hahn, present.
Larry Brown, present.
Cindy Greengold here.
Mary Sue Greisman, present.
Rachel Weaver, present.
Madam Clerk, please note that Commissioner Smith is not present tonight, but we do have a quorum. So we can continue the meeting, and we will go ahead and have the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody stand, please. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Okay, number 3, we'll have the approval of the June 24th, 2026 Planning Commission agenda. Do I have a
Make
motion?
a motion to approve.
Do I have a second? Any questions or changes or issues? Okay, can I have a vote, please? All in favor of approving the agenda, please raise your hand, say aye. Aye. Okay, that's approved. Number 4, approval of the minutes of May 20th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, all right.
Were they in the packet? Because I didn't send them.
Yes,
They were.
yes.
Here. I didn't get them in my packet.
You know what? We can't do the minutes because we don't have enough people to vote on it. So we're going to have to hold on approving the minutes of May 20th, 2026.
We need them.
Well, I think they're online, though.
I don't, well, they were not in the beginning when I started going through.
Okay.
And I don't see them they could be in here and I've missed
I
them.
think, I know, I've seen them at one point, but anyway. Please.
Thank you.
Did you say do it in August? Yeah, thank you. Please, and July would be nice. Okay. Very good. Okay, and now we have public comment, and we have one public commentator, I guess is the term. Thank you.
Yes, hello, Planning Commission.
Hello.
So there are a few things that are not quite right about the item on your agenda, Roman numeral 6. Number 2, new business, public comments submitted by Laura Blackwelder, and I would like to point those out. My comments were submitted on May 19th for the record of the Planning and Zoning public hearing of May 20th, 2026. And they belong with that record rather than as an item of new business for this June 24th, 2026 meeting. And I did inquire with Sarah where that record was, and she sent me some documents that I was unable to locate when I clicked on the link in the webpage that included my comments, but previously when I clicked on the link, they had not been included. And I did write town administration about that. Ironically, though my name appears on your agenda as previously described, my public comments do not. And I understand that you're going to talk about my public comments, but the way things have been going for me particularly, that opens me up to a lot of different narratives. And I would appreciate that if my name is somewhere that references my comments, that my comments go with it. Just to make sure that things are clear in the public eye. When I was asked by your chair if I would entertain just coming to the next meeting as a regular citizen and former commissioner to offer feedback if needed, my exact response was, "Hi, Cindy, no, you can all email me individually if you would like feedback." And that remains true. Any of you can email me all the time. I don't need to be on your agenda. And then lastly, no staff member alerted me that I was on your agenda, which I also find problematic. And nobody asked me if I approved of being on your agenda, which I do not, or asked if I was available or wanted to be present. And so today I talked to Sarah about it, and I think we're all clear on how I feel about that. But I just want to say that related to this meeting, I respect and value each of your opinions and your ability to do your very important work. And you have my number. You can call me anytime if you want my perspective. But it is always my hope that your voice is always your own. And I would just like to leave you with a few thoughts before I go. If something doesn't seem quite right to you, it probably isn't. If you think you should receive more clear, more timely, or more complete information, ask for it. If you think you need an attorney, you do. Most planning commissions have a dedicated attorney. Ask for an attorney's opinion where you think you need one. I've asked on your behalf for an attorney to be assigned to this board, and that request has not been honored. Don't let the slow roll, steamroll tactic from anyone, or the go along, get along pressure allow you to make a decision that you are not comfortable with. You all are the final authority on site plan review, and you should not be pressured into allowing something and not putting in the requirements that the town needs. A lot of people are relying on you, and I think we just saw that with the Environmental Commission. Those are all volunteers just like you guys. And they've gone through some of the same things that we have gone through on planning and zoning, where they're just, fired with information and given the responsibility to protect the county. And in your case, it's to protect the town. So please, to the best of your ability, do that. I know it's hard, and you are working for free. You can require information and studies that you need to consider a plan. You can place conditions on site plan approvals, including those that are included in your coastal resiliency packet that is not passed. You have a lot of leeway on this planning commission, and obviously you do have the ability to deny a permit. And I will remind everybody, you have the ability to require conveyance of the FIDS parcel, Richfield Station open space, as a condition for development in certain instances. And again, if you need an attorney, make sure you get one. Your role on this board is every bit as important as a town council member, if not more so. So we all appreciate what you're doing. I know you're going to get things before you that nobody else will get, only you guys will get. So those are my comments. I wish you luck. I am happy to give feedback, and anything that I say to you on the phone or in person, I will happily say in public or on the record. You will not get a double talk from me. So, and we can always agree to disagree on different topics because we are all different people. And as you know, if I get something that I don't want to approve, I'll just say it. And I hope nobody would take that personally. I certainly wouldn't in the reverse. So that's all I have to say. I will leave everybody to their meetings, and I appreciate you guys. So you have a lot to look at, and I don't want to take up any more of your time. Thank you.
Okay, well, you don't mind us looking over your letter, do you? I mean, it's,
It's written on, it's handwritten.
no, I mean, the letter that you sent for public comments okay. We will be, I mean, they do have access to it right now. They probably all have read it now, so we meant no due respect when we asked you to come today, or that when I asked you to come today, actually. I just assumed you wouldn't mind coming if we had any questions, but, I didn't think you were going to come, actually, today, but that's okay. That's okay. And so if we have questions, we will contact you personally. All
I
right.
appreciate you considering my comments and everybody else's comments as well.
Right, well, since you weren't here, I figured it would be nice to have your comments, really read and understood well. So, just as, because we want to do the right job. We want to have transparency, and we want to make sure that we understand every possible detail. So, and that includes anything that you have any comments about, we want to hear it, and we want to see it, we want to read it. So that's why it's on this agenda for tonight.
Well, thank you, and I do miss this group.
We are wonderful, I have to admit, we are wonderful. I can understand why you miss us, so. Yeah, we mean her. Yeah, we mean her. Good night. Thanks, Lori. Good night. Okay, so now we're going to go to actually the annual report that Ms. Franklin has to report on, which is new business number 6.
Yes. One thing I just want to clarify for the record that the official record of public comments from the Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing is with the clerk. What is online is an unofficial, kind of just for residents to be able to see and understand that we do take in every comment and consider it. Because you do that work, and a lot of time I'll be meeting with a resident and they'll say, oh, I don't think anyone listens to me. So I wanted to make it very clear that you do listen to them.
Yeah, and after you're completing your report, we will go over that wonderful grid that you provided us from the last public hearing. So we'll talk about that when you're done with your report.
So for those of you who don't know, the Maryland Department of Planning requires that the town submit an annual report. They provide a format for us to submit that report in. And so this is me going through and checking off the boxes. There's only one new residential permit that was issued. Is actually a tear down and replace. The second question is, have you reviewed the sustainable growth planning principles? And I'm going to take you through those. So I said yes, because you're going to go through them with me in a minute. It is not our 5-year mid-cycle review for the comprehensive plan. That is next year. So that's checked off as a no. There were not any growth-related changes in the last year. And then this sort of checks off. It's a little weird when it checks it off, it puts a strike through on it. But we did some work on green infrastructure resilience, water air quality, bike and ped planning, placemaking, and sensitive areas preservation. And that all is related to what the jurisdiction has done and what you have done as a planning commission with signs, beginning to review the resiliency, and so the signs are placemaking, and there's a lot going on with the town council with regard to bike and pedestrian planning.
Zoning reform wouldn't count under like what we're doing now?
Yes, but we're doing that
In 2020.
in 2026.
Okay.
That will go in next year's report. Is there anything that MDP can assist us with?
I asked why
I haven't. It did that, and I thought I had it corrected, but it's showing them lined out here. I'll have to fix it so they're not lined out when I send it over. But it's just when you check it off, it does that. I'm not sure why it's still looking like that. I'll get it corrected.
It was the first thing on my list.
Yeah, yeah. If there's any issues that MDP can assist you with, if yes, please describe. If you guys think of anything tonight, we'll add that in to this report. And then have you all received your training? And I understand you all have received your training, so that's also a yes. So now I'm going to take you through Maryland Department of Planning Sustainable Growth Implementation Guide. I'm going to take you through the dashboard, but there are 2 copies of the implementation guide that are there if anyone wants to be looking at paper as we go through. So the Maryland Department of Planning has been holding roundtables with local planners to look at the comprehensive plan and try to make it make a little more sense, because you have elements, you have visions, and it just is kind of a little hard to make the visions and the elements match up. So they're trying to make that happen. So the first step was to create a set of policies or principles instead of the visions. So last time you did planning, there were 12 visions. Now there are 8 principles: land, resilience, equity, economy, housing, transportation, ecology, place. How about that? And what they're doing now is, the last legislative year, they worked to tie these principles into the required elements so that it is easier to create a comprehensive plan that is more cohesive and makes a lot more sense for municipalities. So this implementation guide online, it's kind of nice. It takes you through, you can kind of scroll through it. Each section talks about the intent, and then they have a little dashboard that shows you some of the measurements and targets that they're looking for. And so this is about priority funding area funding, wastewater treatment plant capacity. So I'm going to kind of go through it rather than go through each thing. I'm going to show you what it is. So then we
Just note
get
the page perhaps so we can.
So if you're in there, I gave you all my copies, so I don't.
No.
Yeah, I can. Give me a second, and Meryl. Oops, no, it's not that page. So this landing page here, Sustainable Growth in Maryland, has the guide I'm paging through, but it also, the dashboard I'm paging through, but it also has this guide, which is what is printed out. And so I can go through it this way as well, if that's easier to follow along with.
I think it would, because it would be.
It would match up.
Yeah, it would match up.
Totally fine. So now this talks about the process, the guide and the users, the principles. So when we get to the principles, this is what land means to the state of Maryland. Optimizing productivity of working landscapes, including farms, forests, and fisheries, and prioritizing development within population centers that are in proximity to existing infrastructure and facilities. There's more descriptions. There, it talks about the benefits, and then it talks about the measurables, right? How are we measuring this principle and our achievement of this principle? And so then you get to page 19, and you have transportation, prioritizing transportation networks that create energy efficient, affordable, and reliable access to jobs, housing, and services. So this provides a description. It talks about the benefits, and then it provides you with some metrics as to how they're measuring that. Housing, enabling a mix of quality housing types and affordability options to accommodate all who want to live in the state. Again, a description, the benefits, and how they're measuring that. Economy is allow for adaptive reuse, mixed use, and context-appropriate new development that responds to changing markets and innovations. This provides a more detailed description, the benefits, and the metrics that they're using to measure this principle. Equity, engage all sectors of the community in the plan development process to ensure diverse voices are heard and the needs of underserved populations are prioritized. Then we talk about the description, the benefits, and the measurables. And so they're looking for that to be in your local plans, and they're doing a lot of mapping on equity, along with the Just Communities initiatives. Resilience, integrate resilience measures that will minimize the impacts of rapid and unexpected natural and human-caused threats on communities. You've got a description, you've got the benefits, This one you're really familiar with. So they're looking at flood resilience in the built environment, local energy resilience, and capacity building for being able to plan for resilience. Place, provide public spaces that encourage social interaction and value cultural, historic, and natural resources. Description, sustainable growth benefits, measures, and this is about equity in parkland and place-based investments. Ecology is protecting and restoring sensitive ecological systems and conserving natural resources that include forest, agricultural areas, and waterways. You've got your description, your benefits, and your measures here, which I can read this. Agricultural soils, tree canopy, and water quality. They've got an acknowledgement section, and then they have case examples in this guide, so you can see different examples of projects that are aligned with the principles, and you can see that the project may address more than one principle. So there's a number of case studies. And then the appendix. Not sure what's happening here. Oh, this is a more detailed case example, I think. So you've got a glossary, so terms defined, and then that's it. And so this is what, when we look at updates to the comprehensive plan, this is how the plan doesn't have to be organized in this way, but it has to address all of these principles. And my opinion is this really helps make the comprehensive planning process easier in the long run. Right now, it's a little sticky for folks who are in the middle, but I think it's going to really make it a better process.
I think it gives direction. It gives a lot better direction and overall view of what the purpose is and everything. So I think it's really good. I think it's pretty good. Mary Sue?
Yeah.
What are your names?
So of these purposes, or the principles, you know, the kind of the wheel spoke.
Yep.
How do we show, and to make sure, because we have to address all of those in some manner, is that right?
In your comprehensive plan.
Comprehensive plan.
Okay. Not today.
Yeah.
That's
Down the road.
Yeah, it feels more like this is kind of an intro to the comp plan, but the state wanted us to go over all of these with you as part of the requirements for the annual report. So that's why we're talking about it now.
So then when the comprehensive plan is updated, the format might change to be in relation with this?
Yes, it depends on how much of an update you do. There's probably some stuff we can do to amend and get this stuff in here without doing a full rewrite.
If this survives the next 4 years.
What comment was that?
What do these colors mean?
So you're in the wastewater treatment
This
capacity?
is in transportation, but it's in several places.
So in this table, the yellow is annual vehicle miles traveled, and the red is annual vehicle miles traveled per capita.
What's the blue and the green and the,
This one?
yeah,
So in this one, the red is local bus, the yellow is locally operated transit systems, the dark blue is Baltimore's Metro, the green is MARC, the gold, this is very difficult to see, is light rail, the light blue,
so this is online, is that right?
yes, so if you go
So
to,
if I need to know what it is, I can look it up.
yeah, this is much easier. You can also, yes, see, I can make this bigger so I can read it a little better. I don't know where they are at their accessibility, updates to see, how this reads in a text-to-speech reader or other features. So
But we
here's
can,
we can
we
pop
can
it out.
essentially set this aside until we get to the comprehensive plan.
Yes. Yes.
You have to certify that we've gone through it. Oh, that
You
we've gone
you
through
guys
it.
are gonna vote on this report and certify it so I can send it. And so, yes, I would like to, I assume you want me to go through it. And since you said you reviewed them, I think you want me to review them. So,
Not going to test us or anything, right?
no.
I don't like the way she said that, no.
So you want a motion that we reviewed it? You want us to certify that we reviewed it, that you explained it and reviewed it?
I want a motion to approve the annual report.
Just a motion.
Just the report.
Yeah, because the report says that we reviewed it.
Oh, okay.
That's why we had to go over it.
Okay. All right.
So do I have any questions before we go ahead to a motion? Do you have any questions about it? No questions? Anybody? Okay, no questions. Okay, then I would like to have a motion, if anybody would like to entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve the annual report of the Planning and Zoning Commission of Chesapeake Beach for calendar year 2025, now that we've had the presentation and have reviewed the Sustainable Growth Implementation Guide.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any questions or concerns about the annual report? I see none. Okay, all in favor of approving the report, say aye. Aye. Anybody say no? I hear no nays, so it has been approved. Thank you very much. Okay, now I'd like to move on to our old friend, the zoning map, land use, et cetera. I do want to, before I get into the heart of it, though, I do want to go over and review our public hearing from last month. And we, of course, have one commissioner who wasn't here to really, I don't know if you streamed it or not, Rachel, but we certainly, do you want to explain your wonderful
Sure.
Friendly.
she's been hard at work, so I do want her to explain what she presented us with here tonight.
So these are,
What are we talking?
The things that say zoning on it, it's the land use classification table, zoning map and zones of use.
We have three of those.
Three of those, and she'll explain what they are, actually.
They're excellent.
and so these are, the last time you saw them, the pictures weren't as lovely as they are now, but they are an outreach tool to help engage the public more with the Planning Commission and get their input and make things easier for them to understand. And so I used your elementary school who, what, when, where, why, and how. And so that's how each of these is set up. Each one includes links to the actual document it's referring to. So I don't know which one you have on top. I think you have the land use table on top. Yes, the classification table. So you go through the who, what, when, where, why, which explains who, where it is. Is it with the Planning and Zoning Commission? Is it with the Town Council? When is the next meeting coming up? Where is that meeting held? And then what is a quick summary of what this is talking about? And there are links to other pieces of the document, and they're the whole document that was up for the public hearing. Then the why explains why are we doing this, like what caused us to move forward. In the case of the land use classification table, it just talks about some of the issues that were up for discussion. How is a summary of how we have attempted to solve the problems in the why. It is not fully comprehensive. It is as detailed as it can be and still stay into a reasonable limit, because the idea here is to keep people from having to read a very long document, giving them a shorter overview. And then there's a new section called the U, and that explains how people can engage with the materials. And it also provides a comment and how we have replied to, or how we've responded to that comment. And so if the comment was written, then the comment is directly copied over in the left column. And then if there was an answer that was very quick that could be provided, I have provided it. Some things we haven't talked about yet. And some things, like, so for example, Debbie Buckingham's comments were made in person. So if the Planning and Zoning Commission talked about any of those, then it's there. Otherwise, if I provided sort of an answer, that's there. So let's see. None of these ones look like we necessarily made changes based on it, but I know on the land use map, you'll see like we made changes based on comments. And so it kind of directs people, if they have the same question, where they can get it answered, but also to know that when someone comments to the Planning and Zoning Commission, you pay attention and you discuss it and you consider it and you may make changes based on it. So the only comments that just say thank you are where someone said something nice about y'all. And you're sort of just taking that compliment, and they don't need more information. So I hope that helps people be encouraged to be more engaged.
So if indeed you have, if you want to be reminded what was said, it's in here from our speakers, or our commentators from the last public hearing. And there was, did you also put in Mrs. Smith in here? I didn't see. Was Mrs. Smith in here, her comment about the data centers? Yeah. Okay, I didn't go through it entirely. The one thing I wanted to, thank you for this. I think this was really helpful, actually, Ms. Franklin. I think the public can actually, handily look at that if they want to and figure out, what was said if they have any questions. I think the answers are right there. The one thing I do want to go over is Mrs. Smith's comment was about data centers. And the one thing that we did do about the data centers was that the town council did ask us, the Planning Commission, to write a letter stating our feedback on data centers, and I wanted to share with you what we wrote up, and I think you have a copy of it, actually, and I'm sending it up there if indeed you approve of it and we make a motion to send on. And what it reads is, it's to the town council and Mayor Wall and our town manager. The Planning and Zoning Commission is currently preparing changes to the land use classification table. In this process, the commission determined that data centers are not a compatible use in any zone in Chesapeake Beach and have moved them to a prohibited use in our draft. We therefore recommend that the town council move forward with an ordinance prohibiting data centers. We recommend that the town council amend the land use table to remove item number 57, data centers, and add a new row for data centers to the section titled Expressly Prohibited Uses Indicated NP Not Permitted in every zone column. This will ensure that it's clear that data centers are expressly prohibited in all zones. And I am signing that, but I do need a motion to approve this. And if you need any changes, let me know. We can go ahead and make changes in it. Any questions about this letter?
Yeah, do we have a definition of what data center means?
Do we have a definition?
In big, small,
Well, originally, this is a good point, because originally when I thought of data centers, and the reason why it was, allowed, I think, at one point, was that I originally thought a data center was going to be a small little thing that was in some office somewhere in the marine commercial area that was going to be unobtrusive. I had no clue it was going to be what indeed it turned out to be, as I will read later. these huge monstrosities that could be environmentally insensitive to our bay and to our environment. So, do we have an actual definition in our? Yes, we do, and no, we don't.
So as we've been discussing with the updates we're making to the zoning code, there are a lot of definitions that are not in your zoning code currently. And data centers is one of those. I think if you wanted to recommend that a definition be included, you could, and they could add a definition. But I think someone coming in with the data center, it's a data center. You know what I mean? Like it's the small data center and the large data center are both going to be prohibited by this change.
Any size data
Any
center.
size data center.
But the funny thing is, when you hear the word data center, you think it's a center full of data, and you go, well, what does that mean? Yes, Mr. Commissioner Hahn.
On page 51, there is a definition for data center, correct?
Yeah, so we have a proposed definition for data center, but we don't have the current zoning.
Okay.
So you're right, 51 has our proposed definition for this use that we're recommending be prohibited.
Why don't you read that proposed definition while you've got it up?
Sure.
Or you want to read it? Or, okay, you go ahead and read it.
No, please go ahead.
Yeah, she's got, you go ahead and read it.
That's what you make staff do. So, a specialized facility whose primary purpose is the centralized housing, storage, management, processing, and distribution of electronic data, computer systems, and associated telecommunications equipment. This use typically includes extensive infrastructure to support its operations, such as redundant or backup power generation, example, diesel generators, battery banks, specialized environmental controls, example, industrial cooling systems / chillers, and enhanced security systems and high-capacity fiber optic data connections.
Right. So that is currently in our draft. But, so we're going to assume that would be the one approved that we're going to be guiding this letter by. Is that what we're going to assume? Or should we include that definition in here? I don't know. I mean, how do we handle the definition?
So I guess I would say we could include the definition in the letter. It's slightly more complicated for them to adopt the definition of data center, but they can. It's still fairly straightforward. So we can say for your reference, our draft definition of data center is, and then if they decide that they want to adopt a definition, then they have something that you've prepared to look
Do we
at.
first have to approve that definition on our commission first before we then attach it along with this letter?
I would say if you direct me to include that exact definition in the letter as for your reference, and then you approve the letter, then you're sort of approving the definition. That's one motion instead of two.
Did that answer your question?
Not really, because that definition does not address the size of the facility. I don't think we would oppose a data center. I'm generally opposed to data centers. But if it were the size of this room,
Right.
we probably wouldn't oppose it.
Right, well,
It
that's.
wouldn't be a big deal. Nobody
I
would
think
care.
we thought that originally when we
But
allowed it to be.
when
on-
you're talking these massive things, then we're opposed to that. So, and this definition doesn't distinguish that.
Argue it a little bit does, because it's saying this use typically includes extensive infrastructure to
Typically.
support. So,
Typically.
okay. But I don't think that,
Well, do we not want to oppose it if it's the size of this room? I mean, because they do have small data centers. I mean, from what I understand, there is a thing as a small data center, from what I'm hearing.
And things are shrinking all the time.
And things are
Do we
shrinking.
want this,
Exactly.
this blanket definition to go on indefinitely?
That's an excellent point. Do you have a comment?
I mean, I think I read that they expect in X amount of years that, as things get so much smaller, it will become less noxious, burdensome, unhealthy, much less. We don't know when that will be, and we don't know at what's the tipping point.
But we can define sizes.
Right now, I don't know that we know, depending on however it's designed, I mean, one could be smaller than another, but they might have a larger impact depending on the hours that they're running it, how certain things work in that particular design. I mean, I think we're getting into an area that, I don't know how you can just say a size would be the only thing.
So your concern, Commissioner Brown, is that to have a blanket statement that we oppose all data centers is not exactly something you want to put in a letter. Is that what you're saying? I mean, let's just say somebody came in and said, well, we're going to put a data center, but the size of the town hall. It's not going to be what they're putting in down there, which is 965 acres for one, 1,000 acres for another. There's a third one. I mean, apparently these are huge. Oh, I know that's what we're referring to in our letter, but you're thinking that if we make a blanket statement that we are eliminating or limiting ourselves to not allowing the possibility of any kind of storage of data in this town at all, even though we might need it. That's what you're saying. You basically want to give us the opportunity to have that. Is that what you're saying?
No.
So so how do we get around that one?
So can I ask a question?
Yes.
This town is big on fishermen, seafood. Potentially, every data center has generators and everything else like that, which are going to affect the wildlife. We've had lots of people come in when we've had open meetings before, and they talk about during COVID, they came down here to see all the wildlife. If we have data centers here, how is that going to affect our wildlife? How's it going to affect their industry for something to come in? Because if I recall correctly, the only where it's going is in the Maritime Center area, correct?
Right now, data centers are permitted in the Maritime Center area.
So that would affect the fishery, that would affect the crabbing, that would affect all of that.
Well,
And
originally, I think we thought that it might be something important for the rod and reel or that area where there's a lot of necessary storage of data. Again, we didn't understand or comprehend the size that they needed, but it was like the old computers back in the day. The computers were like as big as this room, and now they're down to the size of my little phone. So I understand Commissioner Brown's issue. But here's how I look at it. We're here and now in this one situation. We can change it, amend it down the road when we need to. And that's how I look at this, is that everything's always...
So the town council specifically wants to prohibit all data centers, and that's the recommendation they're asking for you. And so I think the question is, do you want to recommend that, or do you want to recommend something more nuanced? And I would also say a server room at the Rod and Reel is not a data center, because it's not a specialized facility that has a primary purpose. It's a room in the hotel that's supporting the hotel's operations.
Right. Just one final point is
Yes.
that just if something is smaller, we still don't know. If you go by size, you still don't know what detrimental things to an environment, sound, noise might occur because of the compacting that. So I don't know that is even like a valid metric. So I would say that all. And then again, it can be, reviewed at some point if, the science has really evolved, and then it's safer.
Yeah, if the technology changes, I think that's when this changes. I'm sorry?
Well, to Larry's point, because I was just looking it up, there are micro data centers, but I don't know how that compares to to this definition because they are making the smallest functional data centers are micro data centers, self-contained units that pack the servers, the cooling, and the power into a footprint as small as a refrigerator. And so if those are getting
Yeah, that's
put
true.
into things, does our definition then need to be explicit that like those things are probably going to happen and we would hardly know that it was going to happen, but to make sure that the definition says that if these things need to happen, if the infrastructure, if the cooling, if the security, then that is the thing we are, restricting, because that's the thing that we're concerned, you know what I mean? But like,
So
Wow, this is a little more complicated than I thought we were going to.
I don't know about you all, but if they do in the maritime area, if they do it and they run their generators 24/7, there's going to be an impact. And I say this because I live in Richfield Station and I can hear traders down here when they have their bands. And it goes right all the way up. It's like a sound acoustic. Like sometimes it's so loud you think it's right next door. So if the bands are happening down here, I mean, at least it's usually music you like, and you can hear it going up. Now if you have generators, and that's not stopping, right? Because usually the bands have to stop by a certain time frame, but the generators, they're going to keep going 24/7 according to everything I've read about them. And that means we'll hear it everywhere.
Those microprocessors you're reading about, or the micro centers, what do they say they require? Do they require generators and everything else, or are they more self-contained?
there's self-contained units that pack servers, cooling, and power into it. So it does have all of those things.
But on the inside of a building, you may not hear, I don't know. I mean, I guess the concern is, do we have to be more specific? Do we have to, what do we have to do here to try and make everybody happy?
So I
What if we
think,
said it was by a special exception, which approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission?
I mean, the, not the Planning and Zoning Commission, but the
Board of Appeals.
You?
Board of Appeals, is what you're talking about, right?
Either one.
I mean, the issue is if you ask our constituents, they don't want data centers here. They don't want a special appeal. They want no permits. I mean, you have it in these comments that were listed in here by the resident and other people I've talked to. They don't want it here. They don't even want to open the door for it to come in. And we're here to represent them.
And I would like to say I'm very like anti-data center as a concept. I just wanted to put out that this is as a definite, do you know what I mean? Because I think that that's a really strong point and that there are things that are like, I want to know all of the information.
Absolutely. We want to
In case somebody hears that as a.
I mean, Ms. Smith says in here, you know, being proactive is key. Residents should be informed immediately if data centers are proposed. Proposes an additional restriction of a 5-mile buffer zone around Chesapeake Beach where data centers are prohibited. I mean, she came right before us last month and had a conversation and let us know.
and I think you're having a good conversation. And I think what sort of saying, yes, council, you should do this, does is it allows you to have the conversation if you want to and have more information. But in the meantime, no one's putting in a data center, right? So, because you're still talking about the land use table. If you decide that you want to be more nuanced or you want to recommend that the council be more nuanced, then you can direct me to do research on micro data centers and their impacts, and if their impacts are known or unknown, and then you can discuss that information and have more time without one going in while you're looking at it and then you find out it has negative impacts.
So was there an understanding that they had a time frame, they needed this?
Yeah, that's a good segue. At the town council meeting the other evening, I asked them when they would be ready to bring this up and if we could hold on to it until the month before they're ready to bring it up. And what they said is, can you ask the Planning Commission how much more time they think they need to work on this before they send it to us?
You're referring to the entire,
package,
The
which
entire
will have
packet.
that data center information
not just data?
in it.
Okay. Mhm.
We're going to have to provide information about the different sections that we've looked at. I had a question about solar energy systems today. I had a request that you all receive the state law on solar energy systems. It's complicated. I'm going to send it to you.
So what is your recommendation on this data center letter that I know they've asked us to send them?
Yeah.
Do we tell them that we want more information before we send it, that we can't make a decision?
I think you should think of it almost like creating a moratorium on data centers, right? Because you are about to send them, at some point, this new land use table, these new proposed regulations in which you've said data centers are a prohibited use. If you would like me to bring you more research on micro data centers for consideration, I can do that. But I think it's wise to eliminate data centers as a use right now because there's just too many unknowns. I may come to you and say, there's too many unknowns. You know, here's what we know about micro data centers, and it's not enough for me to say one way or the other. Because it isn't my job to put my personal opinion on data centers, and it's my job to give you information and allow you to make that decision as to what's best for your community.
All right, so did everybody understand what Ms. Franklin just said? Are there any questions about what she just said? Would anybody like to entertain a motion to approve this letter
With the definition added?
with an attached definition that we're going to send with them?
Yeah, I've got it.
Motion to approve the letter?
I second it.
And do I have any questions, more questions about it before we?
You might just want to be a little more specific about just putting the title of the letter.
Well, the motion is to approve a letter requesting a recommendation for data centers or against data centers, and the town council has asked this by us. So we will send them this if indeed we approve it. So it is a request for a recommendation on data centers, and the motion is to send a letter requesting that we not approve them and ask, so we not approve them in our land use table. Okay, so now we've had a motion.
Item number 57,
Item number 57.
where is that on the?
On the land use table.
On the land use table, it should be on there.
Yeah, I'm just going to, you're asking for the page that it's on, so just give me a second. Grab it. It is on page 7.
Oh, I only have 6 pages.
No, we don't have 7.
Oh, are you looking at, I think you're looking at our draft and not the, so it's a little complicated because you're drafting new legislation, but in the meantime, the existing table's out there working. And that's where on page 7, data centers is listed as number 57. So you don't have it in front of you unless you have your zoning ordinance, unless you have your current zoning ordinance.
Wait a minute, so it's not on our,
It's not on your proposed because you're not proposing it. And the numbers are, like, the whole table is reorganized, and
we'd find it on our computer then, right? Find it
you
on
can
that?
find it on your computer, or if you have your zoning ordinance with you, you'll find it in the land use table. I have one zoning ordinance with me if you want me to bring it up for you to look at. Yes, no? Yeah.
Okay, so your question about number 57 apparently is on there as number 57.
If I can I approach Jim?
Yes, please. You may approach the bench.
Exactly. What's this number?
It's, usually they are numbered, okay.
Oh, okay.
Not,
Oh, okay.
it's not numbered now. Okay.
This and everything.
I did have it. Yeah, there you go. I've seen it before. I just,
Before, yeah, man.
yeah, I mean, I've had so many different versions of this. I'm getting,
Oh, data center, right. Right, and so we're going to keep it that way, not permitted.
Look at it.
I'm sorry, I thought I said
permitted.
NP.
It is, but if you go.
Oh, yeah, okay, so that's what we have to, right, we're going to change that.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
all right, so we're in the middle of a motion and we have a second. And we have a second down here and we have no more questions. I guess we have no more comments. So all in favor of approving the letter to transmit to town council, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? No. So we'll move that forward to the town council. Thank you. There, we got that done with. But we should direct Ms. Franklin to examine the micro units for us, so we get a clearer picture on what these data centers are all about, if you don't mind. Bring some information to us next time, if you wouldn't mind doing that. Okay, so if we go to back to our land use classification table, our map, and our districts. We want to start back at the very beginning because there are a lot of little changes we need to fine tune. The town council is really examining this very closely. They're dotting every I, crossing every T. They want to make sure that, we've done our due diligence and that we understand what we're doing here and that we've provided, good information to them. So I want to make sure that we are happy with what we're sending them. I think if you go back to the purpose and intent of districts on your the purpose of districts generally, I think that all looks pretty good. I mean, I don't see anything that we want to change. Does anybody have anything that they want to change on that, which is the character and current land uses within the district, the suitability of each district for the permitted uses, et cetera, et cetera. I think that is something that we're not going to be changing at all. 1 to 6. And then when we get to B, then we start our descriptions of the different districts. The first one beginning with,
Excuse me, where are you?
I'm on my draft.
Page 7.
I'm on my draft.
Yeah.
My draft of the land use, what you'd call it, I guess, the land use,
It's 6/8
2026.
is draft.
I'm just wondering, as I'm looking at this right now, do we want to have it so that the definitions of the zones are on a, I'm just trying to think, does this make sense? I guess it does. Okay, so that's under purpose and intent of districts. Okay, so RLD, the residential low density district, is characterized by detached residential dwelling units on larger lots and low residential density. This district is intended to promote a quiet and safe living environment, protect the scenic natural It's intended to protect the scenic natural landscape within the zone.
Number 3 needs.
Number 3, we need to make some changes on that. It needs to, you need to take the S's and make the plural go away because we're talking about district. So it needs to be preserve and maintain the characteristics of low density. I'm not sure I like the terminology by way of. I almost want to think if we can change it to retaining detached residential housing on larger lots. So in other words, preserve and maintain the characteristics of low density by retaining detached residential housing on larger lots. By way of just sounds kind of, I don't know.
You couldn't think of a better word.
I just, I don't know. Am I wrong about that? Does it sound better to say retaining or should we keep by way of? What do you guys want to do?
I think it sounds better with retaining.
Retaining is a little more, I guess, I don't know.
Bigger word, so
It's a
it's more
bigger word,
professional.
it's more professional. What can I say? Do we want to keep number 4, or is this in a redundancy of it says, keep these areas free from land uses that are incompatible with these neighborhoods and the natural environment? Or do we want to say something more like, ensure that land uses are compatible with these neighborhoods and the natural environment? Do we want to change it to a more positive? Do we want to do that? Would that be better to do that instead of having a negative? Like, so I said, ensure that land uses are compatible with these neighborhoods and the natural environment.
Would put and their natural environment.
And their natural environment?
Just 'cause it
Or
relates
it's-
back to the
Okay,
neighborhoods.
and their natural. I mean, I don't know if you all know the area. It's that beautiful hilly neighborhood up behind the American Legion. I was just there this afternoon looking at it again. That area is also characterized by, I think most of them don't have public sewer and water. I think they're all on septic and well, I think. I don't know if we need to include that in that description, or if we are not sure that they're all on sewer and water. I'm pretty sure they're.
They are on sewer and.
Public
or-
sewer?
I'm sorry, they are well in septic.
They are on.
Sorry, I was about to say
Do we
it wrong.
want to include that just to identify them more clearly or not?
So we can, the thing is that the comprehensive plan, as I've been thinking about this, that the comprehensive plan recommends that they connect to the
Yeah.
sewer system.
Yeah, they were thinking of it down the road, but they didn't think they had
Right.
the money for a very long time, so I
And
don't
so,
know.
I mean, at some point, the septic systems will fail, and whether they have enough space to put in a second, I'm not sure what rules they were developed under.
Right.
So there will probably come a point at which they do need to connect. And so I don't want to necessarily limit that.
Okay. Okay, so does everybody like the way that, sounds for that particular area? Or is there any other way we want to describe it to make it more appropriate, a little more descriptive, or does it look okay with you guys? Or does it look too redundant? We keep saying natural landscape, natural environment. We don't want to have too many words in this thing, too. We want to try and make it, consolidate a little bit. I'm thinking that number 2 and number 4 may be somewhat similar. Should we combine it? Or should we just leave it? Ms. Franklin, what do you think? What are you thinking? You like the 4?
I think they're a little bit different, but they are pretty similar.
How about if we say protect the scenic natural landscape by retaining, by ensuring,
Just bring that down to number 4.
yeah, why
and
don't we
put it
just
at the
do that? All right, so protect the scenic natural landscape by
ensuring.
ensuring that land uses are compatible with these neighborhoods and their, and the natural, no, just leave that last part off. Are compatible with these neighborhoods. Okay?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yep.
Does that sound okay? Mm-hmm. That kind of tightens that up a little bit. Number C, RMD, Residential Medium Density District. The RMD district is characterized by their use of public water and sewer. These areas benefit from compatible infill development and vital public spaces. This district is intended to, and then we got to go down to provide. This district is intended to provide, take the S off, a safe living environment which allows for various housing types, and then take it to promote. This district is intended to promote pedestrian activity, offering community involvement via connected sidewalks, trails, and other outdoor facilities. Number 3, ensure that new infill development or redevelopment is compatible and harmonious with existing residential activities. Anybody have anything else they want to add to A, B, or C? Okay, let's go ahead and turn the page then. D, we've got the RV1, Residential Village District 1, characterized by its detached cottage scale residential dwellings, The RV1 district is characterized by its detached cottage-scale residential dwellings. Connection, you mean connected to? Well, I'm thinking that's not
No,
sounding
it's
right.
connection to public water, so I think it's,
Characterized by its connection, okay. Connection to public water and sewer, narrow streets, alleys, minimal pedestrian walkways, limited off-street parking, and frequent intersections. The district is intended to, and then again, provide, take the S off, and protect, take the S off, a safe coastal living environment. Number 2, due to its proximity to the Chesapeake Bay, more diligence and responsibility is required to reduce the negative impact of improper land uses.
can I stop you for a second?
Yes, ma'am.
So I think that if you look at like 1, 3, and 4, it starts out with, verb and action, but number 2 does not. So either number 2 should be somewhere, in my opinion, in like the kind of explanation part above the numbering, but it doesn't flow in the same way, like in terms of
Okay.
parallelism.
Okay, very good. I like your concern for that.
Thank you.
Provides, let me see here, how do you want to start it? Instead of having a propositional phrase, how about if you start with,
Is intended, you could say it's intended to reduce. If you said intended to, and then just use let's see, if we say reduce the negative impact of improper land uses.
okay, so start with reduce.
Well, I'm not sure because I'm.
Reduce the negative impact of improper land uses by having more diligence and responsibility.
Because-
No,
because-
that doesn't make sense.
No, I'm almost thinking that it should be up in the, like,
Oh, so how about as for number 1?
no, I'm thinking it should be perhaps in the district,
In the description above.
yes. Because that's also part of the proximity to the bay.
Okay, we could do that too.
It's just. It could be right here after frequent intersections. It could say that due to the proximity to the Chesapeake Bay, more diligence and responsibility is required. So I just think then you put it in the description. Because that's not an action. That's more of a, kind of like not like an admonishment or a warning about needed precautions.
Okay, would you want to say its proximity to the Chesapeake Bay requires more diligence and responsibility
In order to reduce.
Okay, are you typing away?
I'm moving it and
So how are you typing it out? Are you after intersections, are you adding something, or what do you want to, how are you doing it?
cut and pasted it up there.
Oh, okay, so you just put the whole thing up there.
Okay.
Well, what the heck, I guess. Does it look too much up there? Is it too wordy now?
I mean, I think if we deleted the phrase connection to public water and sewer, since it's not necessarily a zoning
Oh, okay.
statement, right?
Okay.
It will.
Okay,
out.
so now read what you have when you've taken that part out.
The RV1 district is characterized by its detached cottage-scale residential dwellings, narrow streets, alleys, minimal pedestrian walkways, limited off-street parking, and frequent intersections. Due to its proximity to the Chesapeake Bay, more diligence and responsibility is required to reduce the negative impact of improper land uses.
Oh, I think that probably flows a lot better. And then you have number 1, you have 3 and 4 that all begin with a verb. Oh, but number 4, you have, let's see. I think you have
Intended to encourage, take
I
out the
think you
S.
have to take off the S on encourages. Encourage careful infill. Do we need to have that now that we've had
I think you did.
it up above? Do we want to have it again on number 4?
That's not
Or
about
number
infill.
3? I guess it would be number 3. Do you want to say encourage careful infill and redevelopment of detached housing to avoid overcrowding and congestion? I guess we
It's
should.
good. I think it's good.
Okay, so we'll keep that, and that would probably be just number 3 then. We'd have 1, 2, and 3. How does that sound, Ms. Franklin? Okay? Any other questions about that? Anybody from anybody? No, I don't hear anything. Yes? Are you okay? No. Yes?
I just want to make sure we don't forget to come back to Ms. Blackwelder's comments because some of them,
Gosh, yes, that's
some
right.
of
We
them
have to-
were in the land use table.
Yes,
I mean,
now
we
we
can
have
finish
to-
this. I think we
Yeah,
have to go
and we-
back to the land use table.
Yes, we do
address
have to
it.
do that. Yes, we do, because that would be within the table. So let me get this finished up. The RV2 Residential Village District, the RV2 district is characterized by its You know what, we need to change that because the RV2 is not characterized by its unattached
Right.
residential dwellings. We need to change it to multiple dwelling types. The RV2 district is characterized by its multiple dwelling types. And then I'm not even sure we need on public water and sewer. Do you think we should include that now or not?
I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah, okay, let's take that out. So the RV2 district is characterized by its multiple dwelling types with private driveways. Of course, we can't now say private driveways either if we've got multiple dwelling types.
With off-street parking.
Thank you. Thank you, with off-street parking. Off-street parking. And then it's really not narrow streets we want there, because if they were narrow streets, then we wouldn't want to put all the extra intensity in there.
They're still narrower. They're not streets that are probably wide enough to allow on-street parking and have a fire truck get through, right? I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. I will soon, but
So how do we want to describe the streets?
I would still say narrow because
You want to still say narrow because down, okay, fine, we'll keep it narrow.
when I have the numbers in front of me later this week or early next week, I will revise that if I need to. But I'm pretty sure they're too narrow to really have on-street parking and a very clear lane for emergency
Very
services.
good. And frequent intersections. The district is intended to, and then again, we got promotes, we've got the S is fine there, promotes, the district is intended to promote, I'm sorry, take the S off, promote a safe, active, and more intense residential living environment. To offer more on-site parking, and is considered a walkable community due to its numerous sidewalks and, well, there, we got wider streets, so there's where I got confused. So how do we, how do we justify the wider streets there?
And wider streets than the RV1 zone.
Wider streets than RV1.
And I will need to check that when I have the data, which
Okay, please check, Sarah. Okay, please check.
I don't think it is considered makes sense because this district is intended to offer more on-site parking. That's consistent,
Yes,
but is considered as not consistent.
okay, the district,
You could say offering, maybe,
okay,
offering a walkable community,
well, we have offer more on-site parking
and providing.
and providing a walkable, and providing a walkable community? Mm-hmm. Offer, okay, so do you want to put offering or offer? The district is intended to offer and provide a walkable community. How about provide a walk, oh, we got to provide on the next one.
What about the on-site parking?
Offer more on-site parking and how about offer more on-site parking and a walkable community? How about just
Yeah.
take out? Just take out and is considered. Offer more on-site parking and a walkable community due to its numerous sidewalks and wider streets than the RV1 district. Okay. Number 3, provide more in-home business options. You want to really call them in-home business options, or when you call them?
mixed use option, just say mixed use instead of in-home business.
Dwelling?
Well, what I'm thinking is, okay, well, let's leave it at home, I guess. Let's just, home. Can we just call them home business options instead of in-home? I mean, in-home doesn't make sense to me. At home, we refer to it as home businesses, so I just want to say home business options. So let's take out the in dash part of it. Number 4, allow for a variety of housing types compatible in use, scale, and impact with residential use and the historic pattern of buildings, streets, and blocks. Okay, I guess that works. Number 5, preserve the character of the historic residential development of the town and the resulting existing cottage village pattern of development. Isn't 4 and 5 the same? With just different words.
We just say in number 4, in order to preserve the character. And that's sort of like the,
Why aren't we using, verbs to start the sentences with?
no, I was saying at the after blocks.
Oh, you're saying just add it to number 4.
Maybe,
Allow for a variety of housing types compatible in use, scale, and impact with residential use. And,
it shouldn't be an historic pattern, it should be,
let's put a period and then take out the rest of it. And I think the number 5 is saying what the historic pattern of buildings, streets, and blocks. Isn't that the same thing?
They're similar, and it's fine for you to take it out.
Let's take it out because I think we're just being a little redundant and, okay, very good. So now it's allow for a variety of housing types compatible in use, scale, and impact with residential use, period. Blah, 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 blah. And then number 5, preserve the character of the historic residential development of the town and the resulting existing cottage village pattern of development. I think we're good there. Okay.
it's a data center. It's
My
a mini
data, my data center calling. Okay, I think we're good with RV2 unless anybody has anything else they want to put in there or change. But at least we got we got some of that cumbersome stuff with multiple dwelling types out of there. Okay, so then we have number F, or letter F. RC, Resource Conservation District, is characterized by sensitive natural resources, floodplains, and areas vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. We want to have a colon after resources. Aren't floodplains and areas, aren't they like what natural resources are? Or am I wrong there?
It's not that you're wrong, it's that they encompass stuff that's not covered. So like there's
Okay.
wetlands in some of the areas, there might be, well, the FIDS habitat is some of the areas, so it's not a comprehensive list. You could put a
It's
colon
true,
saying
there's not a
including.
comprehensive list, but it
Right.
just seems like floodplains was just, okay. Number 1, protect and maintain wetlands, surface waters, forests and open space, steep slopes, as well as low-lying areas with elevated risks of flooding. Number 2, protect and maintain land use for critical flood and stormwater management. Wait a minute, does that make sense? Protect and maintain land use? I think take the word use out of there, correct? Protect and maintain,
really create, it's,
resource conservation, wait a minute, hold on. Protect and maintain the,
and it's really protect and control land use.
I think control would be a better word. Protect and control land use for critical flood and stormwater management. What do you think? I think control is a good word. Everybody agree on that one? And what do you think? Yay, no? I say yay, control is a good word. Thank you there. Protect and control land use for critical flood and stormwater management. What do you think about that?
I think that works.
That works.
You do need to leave that one in, so.
Perfect. Then we go to reduce, number 3, reduce the health, safety, and welfare risks for life and property associated with sea level rise and other predicted impacts of climate change. Wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah, this is specific language that's there for a reason, but you can tweak it. But I may stop you if you go too far.
We're going to go too far. We just are. Reduce the health, safety, and welfare risks to life and property associated with sea level rise and other predicted impacts of climate change.
Only thing I think you would put is,
I think, don't you want to add by restricting minimal development, or don't you want to say by
I think that's already.
reduce the health, safety, and welfare risks? The district is intended to reduce the health. Okay, I know why. It doesn't sound right because you don't complete the idea. The district is intended to reduce the health, safety, and welfare risks to life and property associated with sea level rise and other predicted impacts of climate change. Oh, maybe that's okay.
I think it makes sense.
Maybe it's okay then. Maybe it's okay. Okay, all right. I'll just take that. Okay. Does that
Yeah,
sound right
you
to
don't have to
everybody?
like it, but you need it.
What's that?
You don't have to like it, but you need it.
It's like,
Reduce the health, safety, and welfare risks
Can
to
you,
life and property associated with sea level rise. Okay.
can you tell me what area this particular is referencing?
So it's establishing the legal basis for this zone and the limitations in this zone because you have the town has the power to protect health, safety, and welfare and risks to life and property. And so what this is saying is this resource conservation zone has a legal basis, and that legal basis is based in our power to protect health, safety, and welfare and reduce risks to life and property. And so that's why you need to keep it, because it's like you have the authority to do those things with zoning. And that's why Chris put it in there.
Number 4, provide land for community parks and recreational activities, including access to the bay and its tributaries. Number 5, ensure that any new use complies with all environmental protection and land use laws and preservation agreements of the town of Chesapeake Beach and the state of Maryland, and to ensure open space preservation and prevent residential development of parcels dedicated for open space, forest conservation, stormwater management, and wildlife habitats.
So I have a question on
Yeah.
this. I'm looking at 5. Well, I'm looking at all of RC, and I'm looking at the zoning map.
Yeah.
And in Richfield Station, it used to be RPC, and it got changed to RC. And if you look at RPC number 4, it says, provide the opportunity for the protection of the environmentally sensitive and critical habitat protection areas, which is the FIDS.
Yeah.
And that is now in RPC, and this map changed it so it is no longer RPC that it's being protected. Am I understanding that correctly?
Sort of. So your current map has RPC as a zone instead of an overlay. So the new map that you're looking at in your packet, if it's in there, has the RPC overlay going on top of the RC zone. In almost every area. So there's one parcel or 2 parcels, maybe 3, that you specifically removed the RPC overlay from intentionally. And those are only zoned RC now. And that means that whatever was approved in their RPC development plan is no longer valid in those areas where you've removed the overlay. Or, yes. So it's sort of complicated right now. In order to approve anything in Richfield Station right now, I have to look at the original RPC overlay, all of your planning and zoning commission meetings to review what you specifically removed the overlay from and what you didn't specifically remove the overlay from. And so the map you have in front of you puts that overlay everywhere it wasn't specifically removed from and over the FIDs. And the reason it puts it back over the FIDs is because it does add an extra layer of protection because those FIDs are preserved in the original RPC overlay, which means if a planner has to approve something, they're going to look at the underlying zoning, but they're also going to look at the RPC. And that RPC is going to say there's no development in here. And so you have the FIDS covenant, you have the deed restrictions, you have the RPC, you have the RC zones. You're just adding layers of protection onto it. And so that is why I'm recommending that the RPC overlay go over the FIDs. There are two, I can't remember if there's like a parcel on the west side and a parcel on the east side, but maybe two parcels that you specifically remove the RPC overlay from because those were planned, their RPC overlay has those planned for development, and you chose to move them to RC specifically. And so those come out of the RPC. But the FIDs, I believe, should stay in the RPC because it is an additional protection layer.
Okay, I need you to
It is confusing. It is very confusing.
Yeah, and I when I was HOA president, I paid for the attorney that worked for Richfield Station at that time, developer, to go back through all of Richfield Station and code who was responsible for what and what the lays were. So I just want to make sure I understand from the town's perspective where that protection is, because there is conflicting information from the developer in the town. He submitted numerous plats for the same parcel on the same day. So I just want to make sure I understand when I read this and I look at the map, the different layering. So if I understood what you're saying, right now there is an RPC overlay over top of the RC right now. But there are two parcels on there that should be removed from that because of the plats.
So it's difficult because it's already complicated. Overlays are already complicated, right? Because it means the zoning administrator has to go look at the original plan to approve things. If I go back to the original plan, there would be additional areas that would be allowed to be developed. However, this board, not everyone who's on it now, at a meeting specifically discussed two parcels that had been planned for development on the RPC, and you voted to remove them from the RPC and put them in the RC. So that's another layer of like what the zoning administrator has to do before they can look at approving permits, right, is what's the actual RPC because it's not shown on the map. So those two areas cannot be developed. Right now, the FIDS overlay is just RC, but it also has covenant protecting it, right? So it is very protected already. If someone wants to build a residence, sure, RC lets you build a residence, but the covenant doesn't let you build a residence. RC doesn't, sorry. RC lets, if they want to build a nature center, RC lets you build a nature center, but the covenant doesn't let you build a nature center. So it's really just saying one more step, zoning administrator, when you're reviewing stuff in this area, you have to go look at the original overlay. It's just creating more steps that help create redundancies for protection. So I think that it's valuable to have it there. The other option, of course, from an administrative perspective, is just to remove all RPCs, right, and zone them as what they are, and let the covenant do the work, right, for that zone. That makes things easier to administer, but I'm not sure the town is ready to have that conversation. sorry. But we can. There's multiple options, and it is confusing because of everything you have to check in that area. I don't know if I've helped or not.
Did it just confuse you more?
But now you list RPC under the zoning districts, but it doesn't show up here.
So it's harder to see because it's a cross hatching. Well, it's not actually, it's a just diagonal hatching in blue on top of
Cross
everything.
hatching is RPC?
The hatching is the RPC.
It's
Yeah.
not cross hatching.
It's not cross. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
I
Diagonals.
agree with you. I don't see well, what she's saying is the RC is right here, but there is another overlay over top of it. That's the RPC that you don't see on here.
Yeah, let me make sure that it's on your, it is there. We're having issues with the colors, being able to see the streets through the colors, being able to understand. I can take the colors away and we can go back to just the
Oh,
letters for each district. I've missed a couple districts.
On this zoning map, this one,
Yes,
where would we find the RPC on here?
it's blue hatching. I don't know what your printout looks at like. My online version, I can see the blue hatching.
I mean, diagonal lines?
Yes.
Okay.
So when I see the diagonal lines, I just see RC, all RC.
It's over some of the new RMD zone. See it down in the villages, in Bayview Hills. That's not Highlands. Richfield Station, and the other one is escaping me right now. So it's in those two HOA communities.
The RPC you're talking about?
There's RPC, yes, is the
Yeah,
overlay for the RC and the RMD in those zones. And I may have to just make it more dense hatching.
Is there a way to have some sort of like lifting transparencies that kind of,
Okay, so it's not showing up on here.
so you can show what's underneath and then how it's layered?
I can have printouts, right, that here that you guys can use. They're not something I can probably produce for
Here it
every
is right
meeting.
here.
What needs to happen with this map, right, is that it needs to be put into a GIS system and redone. But that is a costly procedure. And so I know that this is hard for everyone, the public, the town council, you all. Spending the money to put it into GIS and then move it around as we adjust it doesn't feel like a good use of the town's funds. And so that's why we're looking at it the way we're looking at it here. If it isn't GIS, there's sort of two options. You could have multiple maps, right? You can have a whole separate map that has the RPC overlays on it. Or you could have potentially, we use PDFs, but you could potentially have a map that allows you to toggle on and off layers. I'm not sure how I would do that, but I think I can figure it out. I know the colors are difficult for some people as well, but the colors help other people. There's going to be a lot of accessibility stuff that has to happen with this map as well.
508.
Yes.
508 compliant.
So where it says on this, RPC is permitted, but in medium density, it's not permitted. So which do you use?
The RPC determines the overall land use. The reason we put the RMD underneath is so that we can apply the RMD to things like decks, sheds, fences, that type of thing. Because what has happened over time is regardless of what the RPC said, certain decks and whatnot have been approved. And so you have a situation where things have been approved and maybe they should have or shouldn't have been, but it's unfair to say, oh, well, all these other people got this, but now that you have a new zoning administrator, you can't have it. And so we're trying to solve that problem by putting the RMD. And so your shed, your deck, your fence, all that stuff is going to have RMD rules applying to it. But also, you know, if you come in and you say, I want to buy these 10 lots and I want to replace them with townhomes, then the RPC is what comes in and says, okay, well, can you do that? What was your RPC approval? Were townhomes part of the RPC approval in this area? And then if they are, then the answer is yes. And if they aren't, then the answer is no. So it all comes back to that original RPC approval.
So looking at the map, there's other RC areas also by the bay. Would it behoove us to add something to the RC resource area to protect the environmentally sensitive since it's by the bay too?
So an RPC is an overlay. The way the RPC overlay works is that a developer will come in and say, I own or I have an option on this land, right? And here's the development that we would like to do. It complies with all your RPC regulations, which you have new RPC regulations, which apply to any new RPCs that come in, but not the existing. And they say, this is what I want to develop. And then the planning commission reviews it and approves it or asks for changes. And so that overlay doesn't get applied unless the property owner asks for it. So we can't apply it to places that it isn't already. The RC is an extremely restrictive zone. We cannot take all value from any of the land, right? We have to allow people to do something with their land, even if it is environmentally sensitive. So there are features that are going to protect environmentally sensitive areas, setbacks from wetlands, floodplain regulations, steep slope regulations, overall setback regulations. But you can't say nothing can happen on this property because it's environmentally sensitive unless you want to purchase it, and that's not a decision this board makes or commission makes. So,
Any other questions on that? Going back, let's just complete number 5 here. Does it make sense ensure that any new use complies with all environmental protection and land use laws and preservation agreements of the town of Chesapeake Beach and the state of Maryland, and to ensure, we're going to use and to ensure after just saying ensure at the beginning. Do we want to continue with and to ensure? Open space preservation and prevent residential development of parcels dedicated for open space, forest conservation, stormwater management, and wildlife habitats. Does this seem a little bit clumsy or what?
Well, I have before even getting to that, second line, when it says all land use laws and, I'm sorry. Yeah, let me see if I can. Okay, there's 2 ands when there should be 2 commas and then an and, because.
Yes, so ensure that any new use complies with all environmental protection,
Comma,
land
use laws, and then if you use the Oxford comma.
okay. Cross out the
do.
and, right?
Yeah.
Land use laws and preservation agreements of the town of Chesapeake Beach. Well, we've got another and in here. So we've got, should we take out the second and? So in other words, ensure that any new use complies with all environmental protection. Well, now that doesn't make sense because it's environmental protection and land use laws is one thing, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
So you don't want to divide that up because environmental protection and land use laws is all one idea.
This is another thing that it's clunky, but I understand why Chris wrote it and put it in here. Because your RC zone, you removed residential uses from your RC zone.
Yeah.
And you needed legal justification to do that. And that's what he's establishing here. So it is clunky and we can restructure it, but I think he's right to have included all of these things.
So it has stormwater management at the end of it of 5, but stormwater management is also in 2.
Right. So, I mean, 2, you can delete. And that's hard, right? Because we're trying to simplify, we're trying to use plain language,
wanna
we're
take
trying to
out
make
number-
things easier.
You want to take out protect and control land use for critical flood and stormwater management?
Wouldn't take that out.
I'm not saying I want to, I'm just saying if you want to delete something, you can delete that.
Well, I think that's a very precise
Right.
idea. I think we want to keep that. But number 5 is just cumbersome, and I just want to make sure that it's,
If you want me to spend some time at home seeing if I can rewrite it to seem less cumbersome but still contain all of the information he was trying to cram in there, I can do that.
I think if you make it 2 different numbers, I mean, one, 5 could be ensure.
could be 5 and 6, yeah.
Yeah,
So
maybe-
rewrite, I'm going to have you rewrite that one if you don't mind. I think it needs to be rewritten. Okay, let's go to number G. RPC, this overlay zone is intended to be used for new residential communities that are constructed, period. Underlying zoning will remain on the property in addition to the overlay. This district is intended to provide greater flexibility in the selection of planned community areas. Provide greater flexibility in the selection of planned community areas. Okay. I don't know, selection seems like an odd word, but we'll leave it. Number 2, assure effective control over the location, type, and arrangement of uses appropriate to the planned community so as to protect the uses in neighboring districts. Allow the community to enjoy the benefits of open space and innovative spacings of dwellings. Provide the opportunity for the protection of environmentally sensitive and critical habitat protection areas. I think RPC sounds okay to me. NC, okay, the commercial center, I don't know if I even have to read. I think the NC, we all can see that that's okay. It's a small scale, low impact commercial use. The TC is characterized by commercial uses that generate pedestrian traffic and encourage community interaction. If you go to the next page, I think, the TC sounds logical to me. I don't think there's anything you need that, unless somebody else has a concern about the TC. J, the PC Commercial Plaza District. The Commercial Plaza District is characterized by larger scale commercial activities that provide necessary goods and services to residents. It's where we have Rollins, et cetera. That's our PC. Actually, do we not, we do call it the Plaza District, commercial. I mean, is it called Commercial Plaza or Plaza? We have it the PC. Is it Commercial Plaza or the Plaza
I mean, here,
Commercial?
we can go right here and see it's Plaza Commercial.
It's PC. You can change it.
So we want to change it. It's under here. It's Commercial Plaza. Do you want to the Plaza Commercial District? Do we want to change it where it's? There's 3 PC Commercial Plaza. You want to say?
Oh, right, it's-
PC Plaza Commercial
Commercial,
District. You see what I'm
yes.
saying? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you want to change it again. The Plaza Commercial
Yeah, I don't
District.
know why it's like
You want to
this.
keep it
Consistent.
consistent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
MC Maritime Commercial District. It sounds logical to me.
Oh, I think there had to be an S. There's a missing S. Oh, and respects. Well, see, it's promote a variety, but it's intended to respect. Oh, I guess that's right.
That enhance the town's waterfront heritage, respect
No, that's right. I was wrong.
uses, because we're going back to uses. Respect, uses respect the sensitive nature of the surrounding environment and are consistent in character and impact with the following. Okay, all right.
Okay.
So there is, I think we've concluded the descriptions. I think that's an important thing to get through. Now we want to get to, I want to go back to, if you don't mind me going back to, because we're running out of time here now. So I want to get back to Ms. Blackwelder's comments that she made at the public hearing that I promised her we would read tonight. So I want to at least get back to those notes. Let me see, where are those? They're in our, where did we put those? Blah, blah, blah.
I've incorporated them as comments into my draft if you want me to take you through them, if that's helpful.
We could do that. You've also got it in your notes. Okay, does everybody have the comment where, the letter that she wrote from last month? Basically, let's just summarize quickly. She has concerns about in private park, the use private park. She's got concerns about the tents and camping idea. So I think we need to, if you make sure you read that, I think those are good points about, actually, I would like to direct Ms. Franklin to give us some language on camping and tents with regards to the private park use for next month, so that we can go over that. See if there's a way that we can actually put camping into a private park situation and make it work, so that we don't have too many issues here. So if you wouldn't mind doing that for next month, that would be number 1 done. Number 2, the Marine Commercial Zone offers a prime location for, yeah, right. Let me see here. Okay, so she's talking about the light industrial uses, which she has a point. We did want to focus through the comprehensive plan on that marine commercial area being recreational as much as possible. So light industrial use kind of doesn't mix with recreational. So I do understand her point there. We did have biomanufacturing because we had this compounding pharmacy down here, if you recall, and that's why we put biomanufacturing in there. But now they are gone, and Ms. Franklin went ahead and put compounding pharmacies under pharmacy and under uses. So we have it, but in a different area. So I think we've taken care of that as far as having a use in the MC. The solar energy systems issue, you were going to talk to us about.
So Commissioner Blackwelder, or Councilwoman Blackwelder, contacted me about solar energy systems today. She's concerned that you have the solar energy systems regulations, but you haven't seen the state law, which was not an intention to deceive you. It was that I'll send you the law and you'll see why I didn't send it to you. The state has used preemption to say that you can't prohibit solar energy systems. We can certainly talk to the attorney. Ultimately, if someone comes in with a solar energy system in certain areas or wants to come in the town, and we say, well, they're just not allowed anywhere in the town, then the state is going to say no. And if the this is terrible, but that law is complicated. Sorry, if the Utility Regulating Commission issues a permit, then they issue a permit. And if we don't have regulations in place, then we don't get to be involved in that. And so these are basically the solar energy system regulations that I put together for you have been compiled from what some other jurisdictions are doing on the Eastern Shore, mainly, including some work that I'm doing for another jurisdiction on the Eastern Shore. And they've been modified to, well, what can be modified, right? The state dictates most of it. I would say 95% of that, maybe 98, is what the state says you can do. And then there's a small portion that gives you like a little more leeway, and that's in there. And we can talk in detail about that if you would like to do so. But I definitely, going through the state law and explaining everything to you, that is going to be an entire an entire session. And so what you could do is say, hey, we've decided we want to take solar energy systems out of this discussion that we want to get to the town council, because that law is existing right now. So it just is what it is right now. We can pull it out of this and we can put it on the agenda after we're done with this and adopt it separately, or we can move forward adopting it in here. And so you guys kind of have to think about that. And
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
How much property is in Chesapeake Beach that could potentially be a solar energy system commercial?
right, I think there's limitations, but there are places, right? There's places that are zone RC, right? And so
But it's only permitted in MC.
not permitted anywhere right now.
Okay.
So that's what I'm trying to do. And if we want to have a bigger discussion about it, I think we can. And let me, because the law is complicated, has a lot of technical stuff about megahertz, megawatts. Before we discuss it in detail, I have to sit down, review it, get my brain back into that space to be able to really answer your questions in a detailed way. So anytime I have to deal with it, I go through the law, I remind myself of everything. It's just not language that lives in my head easily.
Could we make it that it's a permitted use, but it requires so many acreage?
No. It's all based on the I think it's megawatts that are produced by it. So I think if we want to talk about it, it will be better for you to have the law. I can tell you which, we can sit down, I can say on this page, this is this, and flip here. But it's not an easy.
And when we're talking about a solar energy system, we're not talking about the solars that go on top of a house.
No.
We're talking about they're going to, like they do across the United States in the farmland, and they're just running rows of.
Yes. And remember when we talked about the critical area, there was solar in there, and the critical area, we were going to take it out, and the critical area commission said, this is in here to protect you because of the Washington County case. And then the state passed legislation so that it's not just case law, it's actual state law, because the state has decided that it is its priority to allow renewable energy sources. And so they're preempting jurisdictions from restricting renewable energy sources.
Maryland's not the only state that's
Yeah.
the scene on this.
So I can be more prepared next time to be able to answer more questions. I will have to flip through the law, and I may have to look up technical stuff, but I can be more prepared to do
And
that.
you also looking to see what the Fed, if the EPA is saying anything about this too?
Is giving us regulations about it? Okay.
Okay, well, let's discuss what we should do about it right now with the MC. I don't have any problem with leaving it in the MC zone, but I'm not sure what good it would even do to have in the MC, because you need a lot more land than they would have in the MC zone. But
That's kind of
for
the point.
anything that's practical, huh?
That's kind of the point, right?
That's really the point. Yeah, exactly. We would have to put it in the FIDS. We were going to, or one of the RC areas, as you say.
We're not prohibiting it, but we're putting it in the only zone we feel reasonably we can allow it in.
Right.
And yes, practically, you can't actually construct it there, but that's
Right.
the same as any other zoning regulation, right? We might permit something, but that doesn't mean you can do it.
But you can do it,
Right,
exactly. And that's what I say too. I mean, I don't want to completely put an NP in front of solar because, as you say, everybody's demanding solar. Every state usually is into solar right now.
Yeah, if they would put an MP, it's better to just not have it in our table at all. If we're going to say it's not permitted anywhere, we're better off not having it.
All right,
at
who's in
all.
favor of taking it out of the table and just using it as a separate, or even the town council can use it or decide on that later at a different.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
don't have to even,
you guys can defer
entertain
this
that.
conversation. I don't think there's a lot of pressure for it.
Yeah.
I was trying to put the protections into the law for you while we were doing this already, but
I think we should leave it in because just like the data center, then we're coming back to put additional protections in and change what we did. But leaving it here and there's not enough land, at least we're protected and we have it in there in case somebody comes after us. And everything we say it's not permitted, which goes against state law.
oh, we can do whatever you guys want. I mean, that's, I think, why we originally said yes to keeping it in. But on the other hand, if the town council wants to throw it back to our direction, we can also entertain it another time. So it's up to you. You want to keep it in at this point? What does everybody feel? What do you think, Rachel? You want to keep the solar energy systems in at the MC?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that makes sense.
And Commissioner Brown, what are your thoughts?
Keep it in.
Okay, then let's go ahead and keep it in the MC. Let's move on to number 4, land use nightclub, designated SE, consider adding a requirement to serve food.
You mean number 3, just.
I'm saying number 3. I thought we had some food being served at a nightclub. We don't
are we
have,
in nightclubs?
yeah, don't we have food?
Because her
Yes.
comments are
The land
integrated.
use, number 3, land use nightclub, designated SC, considered adding a requirement to serve food or adding other parameters, guidance.
No, there's a period when it should be a comma. But patrons and food are prepared. and
That's law.
Talking about Lori's, yeah.
Okay.
I'm talking about Lori's letter here,
It does say if food is sold, not that food has to be sold.
Well, what other parameters would we be looking at? Are we looking at noise, conditions that would,
Under number 10, nightclub, it says, "And food are prepared for and served to customers for consumption primarily on premises." So it's already got it in there.
yeah, that's what I thought too.
It does say if food is sold, the sale of food and alcohol are incidental and secondary to the provision of live entertainment. So what,
That's the next sentence, but the first sentence says, "And food are prepared for and served to customers."
so then maybe we delete if food is sold from the next sentence so that it's not confusing. And say the sale.
Oh, I think that's probably a good idea.
The other thing is I think that's throwing it off is the periods. There were some periods in
There's
there.
a period that was
There's-
supposed to be a comma.
There's
Yeah.
2 of them. Yeah,
Okay.
okay. There's one period in that, yeah.
Yeah, you're right about that. For, after patrons, let me see, a business
caught
whose
that
primary
already.
business is the provision of live or recorded entertainment, comma, music, comma, or dancing facilities for patrons, comma, let's make it a comma, and food are prepared for and served to customers for consumption primarily on premises. If, should we just say out if food is sold? The sale of food and alcohol are incidental and secondary to the provision of live entertainment. So let's just take out if food is sold.
Yeah.
It's on number 28, page 28.
I have a question on I, or 1. It says carry-out food may constitute no more than 10% of the business. Like, how do you calculate that? If you're having a night and then you have a food truck come in, because you have a band or whatever, is that counted as part of it, or is it just the food in the building? And how do you regulate that? Oh, I've hit 10% and I got to cut everybody off.
This is one of those things that is more of a enforcement measure. You're going to notice it when it's over 10%. Like everyone's coming in here for carry out food and it's just become a carry out food location. That's going to create traffic. It's going to create parking issues. It's going to create issues that are going to trigger the town to say, hold on a second, they may be over their 10% and we need to ask them because they have that, right? What they pack up to go and what they don't, to show us what percentage the carryout is. Generally, 10% means there's not a lot of people coming in and out. There's not a lot of parking and moving. And so I don't think the town intends to ask every nightclub to submit its annual receipts. I think it's that something outside of this is going to be noticeable and then it's enforceable.
Okay, any other questions about the nightclub? I think we've kind of cleaned up that a little bit there. I can't think of any other guidance or parameters we can think of for the nightclub. I think you've got a few here. We want to include anything about noise or any conditions like that. It's all indoor, nothing is outside. Well, outdoor dining is not permitted.
Right.
Or should you say outdoor dining and entertainment? We should include and entertainment, because they could have a band and
On the deck.
entertainment. Is not permitted. Okay, that kind of tightens that a little bit, I think. Okay. What zones did we have nightclub in? We only had it in the marine commercial, marine commercial, right?
Yeah, I think you asked to add that to the marine commercial because you said there was a nightclub in the marine commercial.
I thought that,
I don't mean you specifically. I mean,
well, no, I thought maybe they might have had one maybe at the Rod and Reel at one time. Maybe not, I don't know. But I don't mind, maybe even extending it to another commercial zone, I don't really care, but it seems more likely at the MC area. If no other questions about the nightclub issue, we're going to just skip on Mrs. Blackwelder's letter to number 4. Permit not required is the designation for temporary non-residential parking. What does this cover? And do you want to go over what that covers? Because,
Yeah, so how I replied to that was that it does say what's covered here.
does, yeah.
In any residential district, parking of vehicles in private driveway for compensation during special events shall be permitted subject to the following regulations. All vehicles must be parked on paved surfaces on the lot. Expansion of paved surfaces on residential lot for this purpose is prohibited. Overnight parking for compensation is prohibited. The use is limited to special events that generate additional traffic and limited to 2 hours before the start and 2 hours after the end of the event.
On page 46.
Page 46.
Number 4. Do you want to say, to clarify on the little 1, all vehicles must be parked on paved surfaces on the lot? But then it says expansion of paved surfaces on a residential lot for this purpose is prohibited. Do you want to put the word original paved surfaces on the one ahead of it to clarify the difference between the normal driveway and anything expanded? Or is it just clear the way it is? All vehicles must be parked on original paved surfaces on the lot. All vehicles must be parked on paved surfaces on the lot. Expansion of paved surfaces on a residential lot for this purpose is prohibited.
Right, so if you want to expand your driveway,
Got
right,
it.
you're going to have to ask for a permit because you're increasing your lot coverage. And if you're expanding your driveway, to add like 8 new cars, that's going to flag for me that it's about a home occupation or about non-residential parking, not just your.
Oh, essentially, it's fine the way it is, and I don't think we need to, I'm not really understanding what the question is here or why there's a question, but anybody else have a question about non-residential parking or that issue? It looks fine, okay. Let's go to number 5. Please consider requiring a permit for all home occupations. I think when we get to home occupations, we'll go through that as to whether or not we need permits for the minor and the major. I know that we've gone back and forth on that, but we can talk about it again when we go through it. I think we've addressed most of these issues. I think they were pretty good ones, so I thought it was important to actually give her a little time here to read through those. Right now, I think, we're at 8 o'clock, and I don't want to actually finish before we get to a little bit of the coastal resiliency. Can we get to a little bit of that today? Or
Yes,
do we
can I,
have to-
can I request two things
Yes,
before we
a
move on?
break? You want a little break?
No.
I'd like some more d'oeuvres.
May I have permission to suggest some changes to the residential and accommodations groupings for
Oh.
next time?
What page?
Okay, well,
I don't have to be specific,
Yes.
just like, can I
Yes.
propose some changes to those for next
Which
time?
page is that?
okay, so you're looking at residential group homes, or what do you,
So-
residential what?
I'm asking permission to make some, or propose some changes within the residential uses.
Oh, yes, on
And
page 12.
within,
Page 12.
on page 12, and
Page
within
12.
the accommodations and group living on page, it's multiple pages, starting on page 14. And
So you want to rewrite some of the residential uses C on page 12. And you want to,
you would see what the changes are. I just, you're not directing me to do it, but I think there can be some improvements in those sections. And I don't want to make this draft went to public hearing, this draft is with you all, and I don't want to make changes without your, or even propose changes without your permission, but I do think improvements can happen in there.
okay, so she wants to rewrite some of residential uses, especially when we're talking about duplex, triplex, et cetera. We've got some issues there. Multi-use dwellings, it's a little complicated, so I think we need to make that a little clearer. So I would say, yes, please, I'm going to give you direction to go ahead and rewrite some of that, since we haven't gotten to it tonight. That's great. What else did you want to,
The last thing is that the town council said, how much more time do you need to get this to them? I know that they are particularly busy through the summer. Do you think that, voting on it in September is a reasonable time? Do you think you need more time than that?
Do we have it in August?
yeah, we're still meeting August, unless I hear from everybody they're on vacation.
I'm not here in September,
She's not here in September, but you're here in August.
as far as I know.
Until tomorrow, yes. Are you here, Commissioner Brown? In August?
August, no.
At all? I mean, okay, the meeting, okay, got it. So we have.
Not
one-
asking us?
We have one gone. Are you guys here or not?
I'm actually here.
And are you?
I don't believe I am.
You're not going to be here, and I don't know about Chris. We'll be here, but that won't be a quorum, because you're not sure, though.
I can confirm. I hadn't been thinking I thought we usually took off, so I wasn't.
Well, I would, except that we're so
Yeah,
busy, I
busy,
don't want to
yeah.
have to take anything off right now. I want to get this done by, I would say if we can plan for October, we can probably get it done by October. If we take off August especially, because it looks like we may have to take off August.
So September if you don't take off August, and October if you do take off August. Is that
Yeah, I would say
reasonable?
that would probably be it.
Would be the 26th?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, I would be available.
you would.
Yeah, so.
So we'd have one, and you would be here, 2, 3, 4, maybe Chris, but I thought he was going to be here tonight, and he wasn't, so I don't know. We're going to just assume that we can be here in August. So September or / October, depending on how things work out.
They could tentatively plan to start looking at it in October.
In the fall.
And
I
then
would say yes to
November.
that.
Okay, thank you.
What was the other thing you were going to try and rewrite besides residential uses? Was there anything else?
Page 14, you said?
Residential and the accommodations uses, I think there can be some
B,
improvements.
page 14. So, bed and breakfast. Number 2, do we need number 2, dwelling for resident caretaker? Is that something that we really need to have at all? I'm not even sure I know what that is.
Yeah, I can think about that. I kind of wondered at its inclusion, but there were a couple things I wondered at their inclusion and left because you had them included.
The other thing that I know that we would like to ask of you, since you're doing all this work, is, and you're doing the rules for camping, you're doing that, right?
Yep.
Can you also do something on tourist homes? Because we've got that on number 7, and we have a very little brief description on it, but I think we need a lot more on tourist homes, because I know they're going to want to have more on that.
Yeah, that was part of the thought with asking to be able to make some adjustments to, or recommended adjustments to accommodation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And since you're busy at work, but I don't think we're going to get past that next time. So there's at least a good amount there. Is there any way we can take 15 minutes to go over some of the, start off with the coastal resilience, since we've got it here now, and we've got Larry Brown here, who's really the spokesperson of the coastal resilience. We got to hear it. I got to hear it. Why don't you start and give us a little kind of a brief overview of the
I'm just
coastal
getting to
resilience
that page.
report here.
So just to kind of do a refresher with coastal resiliency, there was the coastal resiliency plan that was developed. There were a number of items that were recommended that were for the Planning and Zoning Commission to look at. And so what you have in your packet is a slideshow that I presented to you a while ago in December. And so the first thing is just to see the areas that we're talking about. If you recall, Area A is the area at the north of town over where the wastewater treatment plant is, and includes sort of the areas off of First Street. You can see it in a variety, and then areas B and C are together on this next map. Area B is the Fishing Creek area, and Area C is further south. It includes this little parcel of land off 11th Street that was being advertised as a potential residential lot, but it really isn't because of it's a flood zone and wetlands. So you can see why those areas are highlighted for coastal resiliency because of the increased flood and water levels as a result of sea level rise. I've talked to some property owners in the areas, and some of them are already experiencing sinking and other issues. And so the coastal resiliency plan has some recommendations for the zoning ordinance. To include the requirement that areas that are mapped in the coastal resiliency plan on the 2010 maps include certification by a professional engineer to ensure that those buildings can withstand storm surge associated with the projected sea level rise. I'm summarizing here. To amend the zoning ordinance to require stormwater management practices and techniques be proven to be effective with the 2.4-foot rise in sea level assumed as a base condition. So your stormwater management is going to work even when the ground is more saturated and more of it is water. Amend the zoning ordinance to prohibit in the areas mapped as flood zones, group homes, convalescent centers, nursing homes, and hospitals. And that is because that puts those populations at a high level of risk. And we don't want to do that. Thoroughly evaluate the zoning ordinance to determine what regulatory obstacles are there that keep property owners from raising their buildings and improving their properties in ways that protect public health and safety and advance resiliency goals of the plan. So that includes like the structure height not being related to the base flood elevation, and then what different hardscape elements or alternative entrances obviously, there's critical area limitations on lot coverage, but what are the town lot coverage limitations? There's also discussion, I'm not sure if that's specifically in here, but is discussion of, allowing for the development of floating homes and they're not called aquatic homes, right? As time goes on. So that's a more comprehensive look, and that's what we were sort of starting to look at, creating an overlay zone for the critical area so that we can establish specific regulations in that area. Then other regulations, it talks about minimizing further forest removal through adjusting the zoning regulations. The state has actually updated its forest, and you guys want to hear that there's more to do. It's forest conservation rules, which means that we're going to be updating our forest conservation rules to comply with state law, and the forest conservation rules are part of the zoning ordinance. So that may resolve this part. It also talks about facilitating outward migration of the South Creek tidal marsh, and allowing that area to grow towards E, David, and D streets. And that may mean reducing the density in those areas. That's sort of complicated by the state allowing ADUs anywhere there's a single-family home. But things flood, and there is flood insurance to help address outward migration. So then another recommendation is to incentivize or require retrofitting of parking lots up in the north area of town so that they could convert some unneeded parking into open space for flood management. There's a lot of parking issues in town, and the parking requirements the town has can prohibit some of the development the town wants to see. And it can require high levels of impervious surface. And so the town council has sort of, the impetus is the parking study you need for the ADUs, but the town council has been discussing the parking issues. And so what we're actually doing, just so you guys are aware, for the ADUs is we're doing a really basic parking study. And then the town council wants to look at doing a more comprehensive parking study. And I think this recommendation will be better placed after that study is done so that we can look at that in a more detailed way as to how much parking is actually needed and what can be converted to green space. So then we have this space between these two blue lines in Area A that is preventing any future development in these areas only if there's planned mitigation efforts in the surrounding area, and this may require revisions to the zoning map. And this is really, some of the non-zoning regulations require the town, or asking the town to help people elevate houses, to have the town elevate infrastructure, roads in this area. And so allowing development in an area where the town is later going to have to come in and spend money raising roads, right? So yes, you have your property, you can do things with your property, but also the town shouldn't have to come back in and raise it. So that's matching the zoning requirements and building requirements and flood requirements to not create an expense for the town down the road as a result of the zoning and the development. So that's what this is about. Here's our amphibious houses. And this is the town looking at modern construction techniques that allow housing to adapt to floodwaters. I'm sure there's probably more technology that has been developed. So we can take a look at that and how codes can allow that. There is a recommendation to minimize further forest removal. I know some of this is repetitive, but I want to make sure I get each one in its context for you. And so you did a lot by rezoning things to resource conservation. but we're going to have to look at, the forest regulations anyway, and so we can see how that matches with these requirements.
There are on the map on area B and C, 2070 plus major event.
Yes.
On the very bottom, I guess you see it on the 2100 as well. You see that little area down there, you said 11th Street, or you said,
Yeah.
that, I believe that area that is flooding right there, though, would not impact any homes, would it? Because the homes are elevated considerably above that area.
Yes. About once a month, every other month, I get a call from someone who wants to buy that house and buy that parcel and put a house on it. It's zoned resource conservation and
Yeah.
zone resource conservation
Right.
because it's mostly wetland, and if a house was there, it would ultimately be at risk.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
When you're thinking of an overlay, you would just be looking at an overlay where the major blue areas are, not that little tiny area down there, right? I mean, how would you think of an overlay?
So the overlay, it's gonna go on the critical area map. It's not gonna go on your zoning map. Don't panic. It should include, and these maps are from the Coastal Flood Explorer. If you remember, we had Critical Area Commission
Right.
here, and we went through all that.
Right.
So that's why I provided those. But the actual maps that we'll probably use are the ones that the plan recommends using, which are the ones that you see in the slides later on. And I would say because the plan says use these maps and use these levels, I think that's what we should use to develop the overlay.
Are you talking about
the critical
page 10? What are you talking about? Are you talking about, which maps are you talking about? The ones,
The overlay zones?
The blurrier ones that you see further in the slideshow incorporated in.
Talking about these?
No, those are the ones we looked at with I've tried to provide you most.
talking about area A and area B?
Yeah, if you go down, you'll see area A, area B.
Yeah, area A.
B.
So it's, if you go a couple pages in, under 5, you see area A.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the areas designated A, B, and C
Mm-hmm.
that would impact housing of some sort or some kind of structure.
Those are the areas that the Coastal Resiliency Plan identified and made recommendations related to.
Okay.
That other little area should be included because it has a map that coordinates with these maps. So you can't see it here, but it does show up on this bigger map, figure 10, 3 vulnerability areas. It is actually showing up on that map, even though it's not identified as a vulnerability area. So when we develop the overlay, it should include everything in town based on the mapping that is in the plan. Or we can use updated mapping, right? Because the mapping is always being revised, but we should use the 2.4 foot level because that's what the plan recommends.
All righty. I think you did a very nice job going through this quickly with us again. Next month, what should we be focusing on as far as do we want to do any more due diligence? How do we want to do this?
For coastal resiliency?
Yeah.
I think if we start to sort of break down the recommendations by height, flood vulnerability, impervious surface, that type of thing, we can start to identify what types of regulations that you might want to consider in the area. So your height everywhere else might be defined as 35 feet from the finished grade, I think it is. And then your height in these areas might be 35 feet from the base flood elevation plus, whatever level you determine. And your lot coverage in these areas might be increased. Is that right? No. your lot coverage might be reduced, yes, to allow more area for stormwater, right? Your mitigation requirements, this was the kind of impetus of this, was that you wanted to include higher mitigation requirements in the critical area, in areas that were vulnerable, to help improve those areas. So that's not part of the resiliency plan's recommendations, but that's part of what you want to do in the critical area. So you would put that in there. So I think maybe for next time, if I bring, I don't know if it would be a table format or a list format, but some kind of format of, here are the different areas that we need to look at regulating. And I'm not going to bring the forest ones because, again, that's going to be a whole separate thing, bringing things to compliance with state law.
Does everybody have a copy of their coastal resiliency plan that was given to us, I don't know, a while back?
Spiral bound?
Yeah, the spiral bound one. Do we all have that copy? I think I know that you do. Okay, so long as we all have a copy of it, because I think we should probably reread it again, and then we can be very clear on how we want to respond to any of this.
You mean this big thing, right?
No, that's a comprehensive plan. It's not that big. I mean, it's big, but it's not that big. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, it is about, it's probably about 50 pages at the most. It's not that big, but, so if we can review that for the next time, and then you're going to come back with an
Basic
outline
sort of.
Okay, very good. And in the meantime, when we come back, we're going to then go back into our uses and just make sure that we've got everything that we want to have in here. I know that I want to add a few things as we go along. So we have to think about if there's anything else we want to include. We might want to add, I think, gas stations. I was thinking, why didn't we add gas stations in our use? We should add gas, things like that. So,
I can do something on gas stations for next time.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind doing something on gas stations, because we have a gas stations, yet we don't have it in our uses use count classification table. So the gas station. Yes, that is it. That is it. Yours is not spiral bound because you don't rank like I do.
Probably under automotive services, but I'm not sure. I will look into it.
Yeah. And let me see what else. What's that? Wasn't it? We probably have been here later than we need to be. Okay, so I think at this point in time, we need to. That was you? Yes. Jill. Can't take her anywhere. I'm telling you that. I cannot take her anywhere. Okay. All right, so we got a little bit of the coastal resiliency. I'm glad we started that at least. The other thing I want you to, if you don't mind, if we can talk about next time is a certificate of use and occupancy. You
Okay.
can put that together.
Right.
I want to discuss that as something that we want to add to our uses. Okay, so if there's nothing else, I'd like to go into comments by commissioners, if anybody has anything. Let's go ahead and start down at Commissioner Hahn, see if she has anything she wants to discuss.
No comment at this time.
Nothing.
Nothing to add.
I have nothing.
Thank you, Ms. Franklin and Sharon, for staying later. And I hope you feel better, Kelly. That's it.
We're glad to have you back. We are very glad to have you back. We are so thrilled to have you back, I can't tell you. Is there anything you would like to add?
I'm just happy that we're presenting a letter to regarding the data centers, and so I really like that work, and I think it's important that we keep in consideration that it does seem like the county in primaries yesterday seemed to have indicated that this is a priority for the citizens of this area, and so I think it's really good that we took that into consideration on this commission.
I'm glad. Thank you for making that motion to pass it through. And I wanted to also thank Ms. Franklin for all the work she did compiling all the information from our public hearing last month. And again, if anybody's watching, I'm glad that, anybody who did show up, they presented some good ideas for us, and I thank them for coming. We didn't have a big turnout for Rachel, who wasn't here. We didn't have a big turnout, but meaningful as usual. So hopefully we can proceed next month with getting more of this done and be done with it completely by September, if we can. We'll power through it. And if not, it'll be October. But I'm glad at least you got us some more time. He bought us some more time, so that was great. Okay, then at that, do I need a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
And do I have a second? Yes. And we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and we're adjourned. I didn't think anybody was going to say no to that one, so we'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
Sarah, this is here. I could. Your coveted copies. Yes.
Good night, Larry. Thank you so much. Thank you, appreciate it.
I'm gonna go to the ladies' room and then.
All right, very good.
This is all yours, right?
Yes, it is.
Look at your mug.
Yeah, you do.